I sat here with tag team champions Rod and Flot. I interviewed two-time unified world champion Tristan Archer, and this time I snagged the champion again, wXw women's champion Aliss Ink, the Scandinavian dragon. I'm so glad you're here. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And thank you so much for having me here.
You may not be that well known to many people in Germany yet. You only had 9 matches in Germany. Yeah, so tell me, how did you get into wrestling in the first place?
Well, I come from a very long martial arts background. I started quite young with first of Aikido, then I moved quite quickly on to other martial arts. I do still practitioner actually of Jiu-Jitsu, karate, and kickboxing. So I had that background, and then I had a friend who thought, should we go and try wrestling? Because that it looks fun. We've gone to a few live matches in Stockholm, and I never grew up watching wrestling. It's not a thing that is very common here at this point, unfortunately. We're trying to change that, obviously. But yeah, we ended up going there and realized on site that it was actually a tryout for a proper course, and it was love at first bump. I just realized I want to do this, and unfortunately got elected for the continuing course. So that's how I started out.
Yeah, you talked about it. I read a bit about it, and you have black belts in karate and jiu-jitsu. Yeah, so you obviously have a great experience in martial arts, and I do think it influences your in-ring style. But what do you think yourself about your in-ring style? How much, yeah, does it benefit you to have that martial arts background?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's so much from the martial arts that I can bring into the wrestling ring, and also just the feeling of being in a ring, moving around, um, just how you act as a wrestler. It's very easy to incorporate elements from the martial arts world into the wrestling. So I had great help with that. That's also, I mean, because I haven't been doing this for that long compared to a lot of other people.
Hmm.
Um, but obviously, with the background I have, it's been quite a quick trajectory, which I don't think I would be able to have otherwise. Then again, wrestling brings so much other elements into it that you don't have in martial arts, obviously. It's a completely different interaction with the audience and all of those aspects of it that is was very foreign to me when I started. So obviously every type of background helps, but martial arts I think is one of the best one for the in-ring performance, considering the movement and just being used to working with another person's body.
Hmm. Your career started around 5 years ago. What would you say was your best experience so far?
I mean, I've been very fortunate to have a lot of great experiences with wrestlers that is, I mean, that is coming from another level and had me raise my level,
Hmm.
kind of leveling up by the matches I've been fortunate to have in a lot of aspects. So that's obviously there's a lot of those examples from my wrestling career. I'd say the best moment for me so far, but the one that was kind of like a turning point, was the Scandinavian tournament in Body Slam, which came off quite soon after the restrictions of COVID started to let up, because obviously COVID affected everyone, and the restrictions was, even if we were a little bit more lenient restrictions in Sweden than it was in, for example, Germany, it's still very much limited how we could do trainings and shows and all of this thing. And we lost our training venue as well during this time. So it was really 1.5 years of like a vacuum for wrestling in a way. Uh, in most of the Nordics, obviously, but especially in Stockholm, just because of the loss of the training venue, we could basically do anything more than having outdoors trainings when there was good weather. And we all know the weather here is not it's not always that good. But yeah, so but the Scandinavia tournament coming up, and there was a huge booking for me at the time as well. Never done a tournament. I've been to Body Slam before, but not in this kind of setting, and it was still one of my first bookings in Body Slam. So yeah, it was a lot of nerves coming into it, and obviously ending up and winning the tournament with all of that entailed, and having the final match with Carlos Mora. which is also like one of the pillars, I'd say, of Scandinavian wrestling at this point. Yeah, that feeling and that kind of like the feeling I had afterwards, that I can actually do this. This is not just a hobby, it's not just a game anymore. This is what I want to do, and this is the lifestyle I'm gonna want to have.
Mm.
So that meant a lot to me for in a lot of different levels of my life, I'd say.
Yeah, you talked about COVID and the restriction it had, and I looked it up, and yes, last year was by far your biggest so far. You had around 30 matches. I think it's more than all the years before combined. Yes, because of COVID. Looking back, how was 2022 for you?
I mean, it was huge. I mean, obviously the wXw debut was one of the biggest points of the year by far. Um, that was also like one of the milestones, just getting to wXw, because not a lot of people from my parts have actually done that. Uh, so that was and yeah, of course, obviously winning a tournament off the bat and then having a championship belt off the bat from the first weekend is also mind blowing
Hmm.
in a lot of ways. So yeah, huge year, obviously as well, like everything picking up and UK bookings and I mean other bookings around Europe. A lot of things going on as well in Scandinavia and the Nordics. The scene is kind of buzzing quite a bit right now because wrestling is not, it hasn't been a huge thing. It's been very underground. It's still very underground, but it's an interest to the product, and it's you can feel it's kind of like it started buzzing before COVID, and then obviously with everything else fizzled out, and now we can see again is it is an interest, uh, in a good way. It's like it's people want to go out and see something different. I think after COVID as well, it's every all the sitting at home. And people want to go out and want to see things and experience things. And wrestling is one of the best things I think you can experience live. This is a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you won the Body Slam Women's Championship last year, and you became, you mentioned it, wXw Women's Champion. What do these titles mean to you? Is it extra special, or do you think it's, yeah, you like the bookings either way? Or how
I mean,
much more special is it to be champion?
I'd say my motivation for doing wrestling has always been to get better at what I'm doing. This is like it's about perfecting a craft more than
Mm.
anything else. And holding a championship is not necessarily my end goal in this. Obviously, it's a great honor, and I'm very happy that people put their trust in me. So, I mean, obviously, I'm very happy about getting the opportunity. But at the end, the best thing about having a championship belt is you get to work with people that is on the level to have championship belts. So that's more of the thing you get. But I wouldn't say necessarily better bookings because different bookings can be good in different ways, and obviously a lot of great wrestlers out there did not hold belts, and so it's always it's a mixed bag of that, obviously. But it leads to more interesting storylines, and that also brings other people in, and it's it is a ride. And I mean, the body slam belt as well. It's obviously Emerson James had it before me, and we've had some of my favorite matches this year as well. I think she's amazing to work with. So so winning the belt from her after having the rematch was like that was also a very special moment to me. So uh, but it is about the story. Wrestling is about the story. My personal wrestling experience is about just how well can I do this, and both in when it comes to how to perform in the ring technically is one part of it, but also how can I teach myself to interact in the best way possible? How can I be as much Aliss Ink as I can be?
Mm.
And that's obviously it's a learning experience. And I haven't been doing that for this long, and still I have hopefully miles to go before I feel like I know this now because I like the learning experience as it is.
Yeah, hopefully. And I want to go back to winning championships. I was there last year at Tag Team Festival, and yeah, one could say you shocked the Turbinenhalle when you pinned Baby Allison and won the title because I don't think there were that many people there actually knowing you before Femme Fatale. Um, How did you perceive the reaction in the Turbinenhalle?
Uh, I was actually expecting for people to hate me for pinning baby Allison, because I know she's a huge favorite, and she's always been holding the belt for a while as well, and holding
Yes.
it with grace. So I was expecting, I wasn't expecting such a mixed reaction. I actually thought it would be stronger reactions against me. So that was a bit. I was like, oh, okay, not everyone hates me in here. Some people are actually cheering. That's nice. But I mean, I'm in Scandinavia. I'm usually a huge baby face. So the situation in Germany is a bit different, which I actually do appreciate. I think it's fun working different style matches with that, and the dynamic changing. So I do like that part quite a bit. Um, I wouldn't mind bringing up more of the rootlet in Alice.
Yeah, looking forward to that. You are still undefeated at wXw. You even defeated top players like Ahura or Amal. How satisfied are you with your wXw run so far?
I mean, I'm very grateful to wXw to start with for bringing me in for these bookings. I'd say looking back, because I'm always my worst critic when it comes to wrestling, and this is technically maybe not all of them my strongest matches. Unfortunately, I would love to say that they were, but I do think I have more in the tank to give than what I've been able to show so far, and I'm hoping to I'm really hoping to bring that out going forward. So it's I want to hold myself to as high of a standard as I can.
Hmm.
Um, but it's obviously different promotions have different ways of working with things as well, and it takes some time to get used to sometimes. So yeah, I'd say from a personal perspective, I'm super happy and grateful for everything that people have helped me with in wXw and the chances they've given me, and I need to raise my game up a little bit more. I feel like I can do that as well, um, to really show what Aliss Ink can do in the ring.
Yeah, during your first months at wXw, now comes the second major festival, maybe the biggest wrestling festival in Europe. Are you particularly nervous, or is it just normal matches for you?
I mean, so far, this is probably going to change the closer we get to the festival, obviously. But so far, I'm feeling more anticipation. I'm really looking forward to Carat. It's going to be, I think it's going to be an amazing set of shows. It's going to be an amazing weekend, and a part of me would almost like to sit in the audience and watch it, like just and be entertained, because I think this is going to be phenomenal. And seeing the people that I bring in for this and the matches coming up. Um, but yeah, obviously I will be nervous, definitely. But right now it's I do so much touring, and I'm like you said, 2022 has been absolutely crazy. I've been away not every weekend, but close to it. And certain weekends have been like multiple shows, multiple countries. So it's been a lot of being on the road, and I kind of got into the mindset. It's no point to being nervous too far ahead, because you never know what you're gonna face in the ring anyway.
Okay.
So I get the more like the day before possibly is like when you start packing your bag and it's like, oh, do I have everything? Am I in the right space? How does body feel? Because that's a tool for this.
Hmm.
So it's always a bit of nerves going into it. The worst part obviously hitting when the music hits is like, yep, here we go. That's obviously when the main part of it.
Okay. Yeah, you spoke about bookings all around Europe. Do you have the interest or the dream to maybe wrestle in Japan, the US one day, or yeah?
Definitely. I mean, it would be absolutely amazing to tour like actually a US tour might be happening
Oh,
in the not too far away future. That's in the planning right now, so we'll see a shorter one though. So that's gonna be absolutely amazing if we when that happens. Japan is obviously always also a dream to go there and do some kind of tour for at least a couple of weeks or something like that. Maybe a couple of months, depending on. Um, but we'll see. I mean, it's like I went into this not knowing anything and being very open-minded to just this new entity of wrestling. And I like to keep it a little bit like that as well. It's like see where this road takes me, because you never know when you're gonna strike gold, basically.
Of course, but like you said, your career isn't that long yet, and yeah, you may have more potential in you. And this year, I do think NXT Europe is around the corner. Would that be a dream too? I mean, it would be maybe full-time wrestling. It would be a big change. Do you dream maybe of getting there?
I'd say NXT Europe, when that happens, depending on how they're planning to do this, could be very interesting or maybe not so interesting. Obviously, it's a great brand, and it's we owe the legacy as well with the NXT UK and everything they've done with that and so on. Um, I'm like I have my doors open, obviously, but everything depends on what they're expecting as well. Because trying as well to build something here in my hometown in Scandinavia, and right now trying to starting up a proper training center for wrestling that's been lacking. Technically, it's always been lacking, but now since COVID, it's been more desperate than ever. We haven't even been able to have the ring up trainings. We're trying to do something proper from it again, like start up a new generation of or wrestlers back home. So it's always like I also want to be able to be a part of that and see if we can create a new boom in Stockholm and in Sweden with this. So it's always a mixed bag of things, and time is obviously it is not I mean there's a lot of time in the world, but it's not in abundance in a personal life. So but it could be extremely interesting to do an NXT run at some point and see, depending on what they would want and how long of a time and how much where you can work this basically.
Hmm.
So I'll keep my door open and we'll see what happens basically.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Back to wXw. Ava Everett and also Eva Kolaski, who won the #1 contendership match at Tag Team Festival. They are ready to challenge you for the title. Are you looking forward to those two?
Yes, I definitely am. Um, I think they're going to be great challenges, and looking forward to give my all. That's the thing as well. When you have the belt on you, people are hunting you, and that's also part of the game, and that's what we look forward to. I want to have the. Okay, so this is the thing. I really do not like when women's wrestling is like the one match on the card thing, and it's kind of like, oh, but they're good, but for women. I absolutely hate that mindset. I want the women's wrestling to be some of the best matches on the night.
Hmm.
So, and I really hope that we can bring that out of these matches coming up. That would be my dream to prove that we can do this just as well as the men can. Because I know that is always a discussion that is going on. And obviously, it's a very different working. I'm very used to working into gender matches. Um, have not worked quite as many women's matches actually, despite having two women's belts. So that's also it's a very different way of working. So that's it's a super fun and interesting to get those kind of bookings and try to figure out how to work that dynamic because it is different. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. I'm hoping that these is gonna be matches to raise the bar ever so much more.
Yeah, I hope so too. You said it, women's wrestling. Yeah, it's. I do think starting to get we start to get more women into wrestling right now. There is a lack of quantity sometimes as well. But now with the Hungarian wrestling, I mean, Eva Kolaski, obviously, but Orshi, who's on a break. We have the French talent. We have you from Scandinavia, a few German talents as well. So yeah, I hope the women's division is picking up steam, and yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
But it's also like you're saying, we come from it's a few women but in very different places,
yes,
which is also a thing because I mean we don't train with each other. We don't have we don't have boots in our training camps usually because we're all in very different regions of the world. I think it's super cool and exciting wXw is kind of like collecting women from different places, put them in the same ring. Right, now let's see what happens. Taking that chance, I think it's an amazing idea, and I really hope that that's gonna spark something new for women's wrestling as well in Europe. Because I mean, it is growing, but we need to get even more good women into this and an interest
Yeah,
for
agreed.
being a part of the product.
Yes. If you could choose an opponent from anywhere, who would it be? Your absolute dream opponent?
From anywhere, any era, or live today?
Maybe both.
I mean, I go back and forth a lot between these. I mean, Bryan Danielson would be an absolute amazing match to have. I would like to see the American Dragon versus the Scandinavian Dragon at some point. Will never happen. We all know that, but that would be amazing. And so for intergender match, yeah, that would definitely be one of the dreams. I would also, I mean, so many good women wrestlers as well. I want to say Kana, but that's because my what's it called now? Not Kana. Can you help me?
Mm.
WWE. Oh my lord. Right, never mind. Kana, for those who knows, she's not called that anymore. Japanese wrestler.
Asuka.
Asuka, thank you.
Yeah.
God, I completely blanked.
I wanted to say
You,
Yoshirai, but I know it was wrong. Yeah, okay,
yeah,
Asuka. Yeah. All right.
there you go. No, but I mean that would also be like an amazing match to have because I do like her style and the flair she brings to the ring. So that would
Mm.
also be super cool. We're looking at women's matches, and I mean, if I could pick anyone from any era, Eddie Guerrero, obviously that's everyone's
Mm.
choice, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. Not that uncommon, at least, yes.
No, there's a
Um,
reason for that though.
yeah, it's true. So, what goals do you have for the immediate future, or where do you see yourself maybe in end of 2023?
I'd say end of 2023. I'm still touring. And getting to have amazing opponents, hopefully throughout the year. I'm hoping to have a US tour done during 2023. Uh, if I'm really lucky, Japan might be in the making as well, but I would reckon that's more likely to happen next year in that case. Just
Okay.
speculating. Uh,
Yeah, very cool.
but yeah, that's kind of like I still want to go places and make new contacts and just work with different people and trying to learn as much as possible. And I would also during the year like to see my home scene grow. The people that I help train at this point. I mean, obviously, I have not been doing this that long, but I'm comparatively at this scene actually one of the more experienced ones. So we all kind of like have to help each other to get better and grow in this together because it is very limited at
Mm.
this point, right where I am geographically. So I would love for to see all of them actually also starting to get out and get bookings to different places and be able to help them on that journey and hopefully through with the help of this training center that we're trying to build now. So that would also be like a huge goal for this year.
Okay. Yeah, I actually reached the end of my questions. Do you have something you want to tell the German fans before 16 karat gold?
Oof. All right. You ain't seen nothing yet. Just I'll be there and I'll bring you the best Alice that I can.
Okay, nice. Now I have, what I put above all, the quote, you have seen nothing yet. Perfect. Yeah, that concludes the interview, Aliss Ink. I keep my fingers crossed for the US tour. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you in Oberhausen again. Until then, stay healthy and yeah, we'll see you there.
Will do. All right, looking forward to it. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.